I don't know if there are any rules or anything like that in terms of how many people can tag, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tag a bunch of people. I tag the Anime Dude, All Day Anime, The Corner Reviews, and Shinsink. And if you don't do it, I will find you. And I will leave you hate messages on your videos.
Hey there guys and gals, AnimeDude here, and as you've just heard, I've been challenged by the one and only Jeiku to answer 16 questions about myself. And I don't want him leaving me any hate comments, so without further ado, let's get to it. Number 1. What is your favorite male character? Alright, so I guess we're already starting off with a difficult question, because there's so many to choose from. Yet after much contemplation, I have to say that since it doesn't specify between anime and manga characters, I'm gonna have to go with Guts from Berserk. When many think of Guts, they think of a 6'3", 250-pound mercenary that is constantly slicing enemy soldiers and monsters in half with a giant sword. Or in the case of the 2016 anime, a frying pan. They think of the gore and of a battle-hardened war veteran that can slay 100 men by himself. And while all that's very badass in its own right, it's not what makes him my favorite character. Rather, it's the depth found below the battle-hardened exterior. He's a bit socially awkward, and if you've read the manga, you'll know just how much his past hardships affect how he handles even the smallest of events. For example, when he's given a congratulatory pat on the back and freaks out, it's not because he's a badass that's too cool for anyone else to congratulate. It's because he was molested by a fellow mercenary when he was a child. This is only one example, and while I feel that I could easily do an entire video analyzing the character that is Guts, I think I'll just simplify it to this. From childhood to present, Guts has been through more than his fair share of hardships, and his journey through life is one of constant perseverance. I'm a sucker for deeply layered characters and character development, so witnessing Guts' entire life as he struggles to find his way, even against causality itself, is what makes it impossible for me to place him anywhere but the top. Number 2. What is your favorite female character? C2, because she's my waifu. Number 3. What is your favorite anime soundtrack? Well, my favorite soundtrack is hands down Kingdom Hearts. But since that's not really an anime, I'm gonna go with the OST for Clannad and Clannad After Story. I don't really remember which is which because these two kinda just blended in together for me, but the important part is that they both gave me the feels. I remember that they both complemented the scenes that were happening extremely well, so yeah. Number 4. Favorite anime opening? I'm gonna have to go with the opening theme for Monster. It may not have any catchy tune or lyrics, but to this day, I don't know if I've ever seen an opening set the tone for a show quite as well as Monster's OP did. This was definitely a tough question, and I'm sure my answer sounds overly simplistic, but in the end it can be almost impossible to choose just one, so I just did my best to choose without overthinking things. Number 5. Favorite anime ending credits? Okay, so I don't always watch ending credits, but this was still a tough question. I feel like it would have been easy to say any of the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood or Death Note endings and I would have been set. But instead, I think I'm going to go with the ending theme for Anohana. Mainly for the same reason I chose the Clannad OST. It's just amazing as an emotional accompaniment. Number 6. Favorite anime scene? Now, this is an extremely hard one, because I've seen a lot of anime, and thus I've also seen all kinds of great scenes. So instead of racking my brain to choose a definitive favorite, I'm going to list a scene from an underrated anime called Phantom. Requiem for the Phantom, that gave me chills the first time I watched it. Here it is now. Now, since no scene is quite the same without a bit of context, up until this scene, Zwei has been trained and conditioned to rid himself of all emotions as he was groomed as an elite assassin for an organization of underground mafia families known as Inferno. Now there was a mafia boss named Tony the Stone that didn't want Inferno on his turf. He wasn't willing to submit to them and he was ready for a fight. Zwei is ordered to break him by killing those close to him, his wife and son. Now in this scene, the young boy recognizes Zwei from his earlier surveillance at the amusement park, but rather than having any sense of fear, the boy embodied innocence in its purest form. As the boy's mother enters the room, Zwei shoots her, and the boy still doesn't quite understand what's going on. Zwei aims his gun at the innocent child, sees himself in the mirror, and hesitates. At this point, I honestly thought he might not be able to go through with it, that there was still some kind of humanity inside that brainwashed head of his that told him that this was wrong. But despite any doubts he may have briefly experienced, he ultimately chose to end the boy's life. The soundtrack blended perfectly with the tone of the scene, and despite obviously being alive, Zwei's cold eyes clearly show that he feels dead inside, much like his title of Phantom suggests. It was a very powerful scene that gave off an almost disturbing amount of realism, and I don't want to spend too long analyzing it, but the chills it sent through my spine spoke volumes. Number 7. What anime character would you like to meet? I'm gonna have to go with Akito Takagi, otherwise known as Shujin, from Bakuman. He seems like a chill guy, and we both love manga, so I'm sure we get along great. Number 8. Which anime character is most like you? I can honestly say that I've never seen an anime character quite like myself. I consider myself a pretty unique guy, but if I had to choose one, I guess I'd go with Kirino Kosaka from Oreimo. Now hear me out. There's far more differences than there are similarities. Number 1, I'm not a 14 to 16 year old girl. I'm a grown ass man. Number 2, I'm not a tsundere. Baka. Number 3, my love for my siblings is strictly 100% platonic, like it should be. However, despite our many differences, there was a part of me growing up that deeply related to Kirino. I got good grades in school, really liked to play sports, and I had a lot of friends at school that didn't know about my otaku-like tendencies. I was a closet otaku, kinda like she was. My parents weren't really too happy with my hobby either. Overall, Kirino just had some really relatable aspects to her character. Number 9. What is your favorite thing about anime? I personally love how it's an extremely diverse medium that has stories unlike anywhere else. Not every show is gonna be extremely popular, but with the large variety of cult hits out there, it's safe to assume that there's something out there for everybody. You just have to find it. Number 10. What is your least favorite thing about anime? My least favorite thing about anime is the misconceptions it gets from the general public. Most people hate on anime and its fans for preconceived ideas formulated by the media, and instead of realizing the diversity that it provides, they tend to judge it as a single genre all its own. More specifically, one centered around erotic and perverted material. Anime fans are stereotyped in the most ridiculous of ways by the uninformed members of the media and general public, and that's personally my least favorite thing pertaining to anime. Number 11. What is your favorite anime couple? Nina X Tablecun. Number 12. Okay, I was just kidding about number 11. In all actuality, I'd considered saying Isaac and Miria from Bacano because they're so much fun, but not only do I not want to copy Juku, but their relationship was never really fleshed out enough for them to be my absolute favorite. So instead, I'm gonna go with Okazaki Tomoya and Nagisa Furukawa from Clannad. As individuals, they're both very flawed people. However, the fact that they struggle so much without one another, yet are so perfect when they're together, is exactly what makes them such a great couple. Number 12. What is your favorite anime animal? Do Pokemon count as animals? I want to count Pokemon as animals. My favorite Pokemon is Aggron. Number 13. What was the first anime you ever saw? Well, stuff like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Digimon were probably my firsts. But if you mean aside from the standard gateway shows, it was Suzuka. Number 14. What is your favorite anime genre? This is another tough question for me because it depends largely on my mood. I really do love sports anime, but I believe it's gonna lose out to psychological thrillers as my favorite genre. Be it Death Note, Code Geass, Monster, Phantom Requiem for the Phantom, Mirai Nikki, Attack on Titan, etc., whatever you can think of. The list goes on and on. A majority of those shows that I enjoyed the most have some aspect to them that fits within this genre. Number 15. What is your favorite anime fight scene? Spike Spiegel vs. Vincent in the Cowboy Bebop movie. This video is kinda long by this point, so as far as why it's my favorite, cause it's cool, that's why. And for the last question, number 16, what anime would I give another season? This one was actually kinda easy. Spice and Wolf. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna go cry because I remember we'll probably never get a season 3. But before I do, I guess I better tag someone in order to keep this chain challenge going. So, the Black Mist. It's all on you now, man. And also, if you don't have a YouTube but you're watching this video, then I'm gonna challenge you. I want you to go down in the comment section below and answer the 16 questions on this list. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, remember to like, subscribe, and share with friends. And Anime Dude, out.